Hi there, Michael Eskin here with another ABC Transcription Tools demo. I've added some new capabilities to the highlighting feature, and I wanted to give you a quick demo. If you're not familiar with the highlighting feature, it's a feature that, when enabled, allows you to, for example, drag on notes in the ABC, and you can see they highlight here in the notation, and alternatively you can click on notes in the notation and they highlight in the ABC. So you can see this G here gets highlighted here. If I click on this F sharp there, you can see it gets highlighted here. And this is really useful when you have a complex arrangement, particularly if it has a lot of voices, to be able to identify specific problematic notes and fix them. What I've added is the ability for the tool to analyze the measure lengths and to show you measures that may have too many beats or too few beats. So for example, if I go into this measure here and I, for example, delete one of the notes, you can now see that that measure is highlighted, and if you hover over it, you'll see you get a tooltip that tells you which measure number, how many beats were expected, and how many beats were actually measured, and that will help guide you in fixing whatever the problem was. So for example, if I were to go to this G here and change it to a 16th note, you can see now that that measure is flagged, and it says that I expected 4 beats in that measure and only saw 3.75. So a very handy feature for figuring out issues with improper measure lengths. Now, this information is just advisory. So the tool looks at every measure in the tune, and it's simply going to look at the meter, and it's going to look at the number of beats in the measure, and it's going to flag them if there is a mismatch. And this means that there are some cases, for example, with pickup notes, where it may show you a highlighted measure, but that measure is not actually problematic. And I'll give you an example here. So for example, I'm going to show you, if we look at, let's say the B swing, you can see we have a pickup here. The pickup is only 1 beat. It says beats expected 4 and beats measured 1. Same thing at the end here, because of the pickup, beats expected 4 measured 3. Again, not every highlighted measure is necessarily an error. It's just simply saying that in your meter, this is how many beats there should be per measure. And if you meant to have 1 beat and then a pickup, then you can make sure those are matched. Here's another example, same thing here, 1 beat pickup, and then 3 beats at the end and the first ending, and same thing at the end here. So I just wanted to show that to you, that just because a measure is highlighted in yellow does not mean that it's necessarily an error. It's simply an advisory telling you, for this meter, this particular measure doesn't contain exactly the number of beats specified in the meter. I'll go ahead and clear all the tunes out here. I'm going to go ahead and add a tune here. I want to show you, if you don't want the measure highlighting, there's a couple of options. One is you can hold down the Shift key while clicking the highlighting button. And now if I, for example, delete some notes from this measure here, you'll see that the measure is no longer flagged. So if it's something you decide you don't like temporarily, you can disable it. The other option is, if you go to the Settings dialog, there is an option on the Editor tab that is highlight measures with an incorrect number of beats when highlighting is enabled. If you decide you just don't want this feature at all, you can just go ahead and uncheck that box, click OK, and that feature will be disabled. So anyway, just wanted to show you that if it's a feature that you don't like, you can either disable it temporarily for a particular tune, or you can disable it globally for the tool.